Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the last path of 8.4.5 Act of War with Flux Dispersal. The defenders are going to be Daredevils Hell's Kitchen, Titania, Squirrel Girl, Sorcerer Supreme, Elsa Bloodstone, and Joe Fixit. The nodes are going to be Act of War, Flux Dispersal, Prey on the Weak, In Your Face, Powerful and Aggressive. Now with Act of War, your block proficiency will decay to 0 and less than 0 every 15 seconds, and to reset that you have to use a striker. And every time you hit the defender with Flux Dispersal, he will gain a charge that will reduce the damage taken by him by 5%, and you have to use a heavy attack to remove all of those charges. And if you intercept the defender with a striker, you are gonna gain a fury of 75%, and all defenders are immune to any type of power manipulation. So, after the nodes, the biggest thing you will need is you will need relics for this path because they will help you reset your block proficiency, otherwise your defenders will stay unblockable. For your boost and masteries, the regular setup can go, suicides and non-suicides, they both can work. Now, in my opinion, the best champions are going to be champions that have easy access to either unblockable or assistant intercepts or openings. So for example, if I have a Shang-Chi, I can just go in with my unblockable and gives me an opening. Even though the defender is unblockable, I don't have to worry about it. I can either push him to a special attack and let him trigger a special and retaliate after, or I can go ahead and stun and use a heavy from Shang-Chi and I can redo the loop. So champions with unblockable give you easy access or easy opening to hit the defender, and also assistant intercepts and openings work. I will explain more during the video. If you don't have those champions, you can also use power gain or special champions, but they are not the best choice, but they work as well. And the boss island is going to be Spiderman Supreme. We're gonna discuss all about him during the fight. Just bring in champions that have counter to miss and you should be good. The first fight is going to be against the Daredevils Hell's Kitchen. I am going to use an Apocalypse and I'm going to bring in a synergy with Cable. Now what the Cable synergy does, it gives me an opening where I can just go in, hit the block with a light attack, and I can stun the opponent. Now Daredevil usually shrug off all the stuns, but because Apocalypse reduces the ability accuracy on that, so he is a perfect counter here. So all you need to do is to keep hitting him, build up to your specials, throw your specials, let him throw his specials, and you're going to punish them. And you will notice that there's a Flux Dispersal charge that is increasing in charge, and you're reducing your ability, reducing your damage by 5% every time. So it becomes like a loop. You hit the opponent, when your striker is ready, use a striker, and then you use a heavy attack. Using a striker will reset your block proficiency so the defender is not unblockable, and during the stun of the striker you can use a heavy attack and can remove all of those Flux Dispersal charges, that is reducing your damage. And just like that, with that loop you can take out Daredevil's Hell's Kitchen or other opponents. Now the big thing with Apocalypse is that he gets an extra opening. So for example, he can just hit in the block with a light attack and stun the opponent. So you can stun and you can throw a heavy just like this one, and that will also help you remove Flux Dispersal and maybe help you push Daredevils to an SP1. So after the SP1 trigger, he gives you an opening so you can go in and attack back again. So I believe that Apocalypse with Cable synergy is one of the best champions for this path because there are quite a few skill champions here and it works really well. Now if you don't have him, there are some other champions that work too. You can go in and use a Shang-Chi. Don't expect the stun to stick. You can also use somebody like Hulkling. You will have to wait out the striker to throw a heavy attack. You can also use somebody like Titania with the unblockable. Another good option is going to be your Kitty with your Tigra. You can also use White Mags as a synergy if you want to, but there are plenty of other champions that can be useful. Kate Bishop works as well, so yeah, and also Professor X. Now moving on to the next fight, that is going to be against the Titania. I'm going to showcase Kate Bishop. Now she is my ascended champ, so I really use her a lot. I am using my parry until I have my block proficiency up, not in red, so that's going to help me. I'm focusing right now to take her to a corner. I've just used my striker as well with the heavy attack. I've removed the Flux Dispersal. There is an SP1. I'm gonna go back in and throw my SP2 so I can just literally corner her. I think I messed the perfect block. Yeah, I messed it up, but that's okay. I corner her and then heavy attack. Now this is where I have her, and anytime she wants to dash to me or she wants to throw a light attack, I can always parry for that passive stun, and that gives me an opening to throw another SP1, and in the meanwhile my striker is ready. Now remember, for the strikers, bring your strikers that are 6-star rarity, because the higher the rarity, the faster your spirit meter will gain, and you will need that spirit meter a lot for this path, because you have to return your block proficiency to maximum at 99 every time you use a striker. And yeah, and just like that, Titania is almost dead. Use a heavy attack here against the wall to refresh, and there we go. She'll come back with an SP1 and we'll take her out. Now, what are other champions that you can use? There are quite a few champions that you can use. Again, assistant intercept. I really think that Elsa Bloodstone is really good for this fight, but you have to wait for the unstoppable to go away. You can use Apocalypse again. You can also go for Hulkling. Shang-Chi would be a really great option here. So plenty of options available for this fight. Fight number 3 is going to be a Squirrel Girl skill champion, so bring in a good mutant. So the top 3 mutants I can think about is going to be Apocalypse with Cable, then there's also Professor X, and you can also use Kitty with Tigra. Now with Kitty with Tigra, once you get above 10 prowesses, you are going to go unblockable, and with the unblockable you get very easy access to get openings and keep pushing the defender to a special, so he keeps throwing the special, and after that you can punish, or you can also use like a big special attack with a striker filled up, and that can easily take out the defenders. Those are the top 3 options when it comes to mutant champions. Now what if you don't have some good mutant champions? You can also go with somebody that has easy access to unblockable, so your Adam Warlock can work here. Your Titania, although I would not say to use it because she's a skill champion, but she takes out she's a science champion, but she can take out skill champions. You can also use Kate Bishop. You can also use Hulkling, or if you don't have any of them, you can use power gain champions and just use their specials. Especially I'm talking about your Hyperion, especially I'm talking about your Arcus. All of them work. Fight number 4 was against Sorcerer Supreme, and I really enjoyed that fight because I don't really get to play much with Morbius, and this was the perfect fight for Morbius, because if you know, Morbius has glide, and that is unblockable when he glides in, and also when he glides in during the special, that does extra bleeds and also gives you a glide back. So it was so much fun to time that right. So just waiting for him to throw an SP2 and I will glide right in. Look at those bleeds. And once you have more than 10 bleeds, you have a Petrify, so you can control Sorcerer Supreme's power as well. So Morbius is one of the good counters here. I really like using him. You can use him for other champions as well that are non-skill champions on the path. They can work, or just missed out there. I just kind of glide early, but here we go. 13 of those bleeds, and look at that damage. Remember, in all of that, don't forget to use a striker and knock down the opponent. It's very important to remove those flux dispersal charges. because if you don't remove those Flux Dispersal charges, you will do 0 damage at 20 charges. So the loop I like to keep is hit the opponent, give him 2 full 5-hit combos, and then use a striker. As soon as I use the striker, my block proficiency is back up to 100, and during the striker stun I use my heavy attack to remove the Flux Dispersal and throw a special attack right after, and it works really well. So right here Morbus is back to full health. Here we go again, just waiting for him to throw a special. I'm gonna dash in during the special with that amazing glide, and look at those bleeds stacking up. Here we go again, bat winged in, striker. Well, so I should have used the striker here with the heavy attack, and then I should have used the special too. That would have done a lot more damage. But then hey, not every time you get a good Morbius fight, so this was really fun, and I was able to take out. Some other options are also available just on the right side of the screen. Now the second last defender is going to be an Elsa Bloodstone. If you're going to bring in a bleeder, make sure that you bring in a mutant bleeder, otherwise she will degen you to death. I am just going to use the same Apocalypse versus Apocalypse with Cable Synergy with 4 charges. That is going to be great because she cannot shrug off the debuffs, and also I can easily throw my specials, apply those debuffs on her, and no degen for me. Also with a light attack I can stun Elsa Bloodstone and follow it up with a heavy attack, so I can control the Flux Dispersal charges much better. And I have a really good, I think 5-star relic that is equipped with Apocalypse, so I am getting those spirit gains very quickly, and I'm able to reset my decay charges as well. So just here waiting for the SP1 trigger, and I'm gonna go back in, and here I am going to hit in the block with the stun with the heavy attack, and there you go, Flux Dispersal charges are at 0. Now I think I'm gonna throw an SP1 to get all 4 of those debuffs up. Apocalypse is just a monster on this path. If that doesn't work out or you don't have him, you can go Professor X, you can go Kitty. There are plenty of different options you can go with. And again, if you don't have a good champion that can counter the shrug-offs, bring a Kate Bishop, or bring a champion that has easy access to unblockable or assisted intercept, and bring a white Magneto if it's needed against the scale champions, because that is really gonna help you let that stun stick and give you time to do all of those shenanigans where you can kill off the opponent without worrying about the shrug-off. So keep that in mind. And the final fight on the path is going to be a Joe Fixit. Now I really wanted to bring in Kate Bishop, but I wanted to showcase Elsa Bloodstone, how well she works too here. Ideally I would have brought Kate Bishop because she's my Ascended Champions. Try to bring your highest ranker and Ascended Champions to get this act finished faster. Kate Bishop with synergy with Chavez would have been amazing, because I can apply 3 of those cold snap debuffs, but that's okay. I have to show Elsa Bloodstone. So right here you will notice that Elsa Bloodstone has his assisted intercept that can really help you out. So I just used a striker with a heavy attack, and we removed all of those Flux Dispersal charges. Now if I get stuck below 1 bar of power on Joe Fixit, I need to make sure that I try to re-parry him so I don't have to deal with the unblockable SP1. That is the whole threat in this fight. If you can manage to kind of manage that SP1, you should do great here. So right here you would notice I keep pushing him to an SP2 only, and I'm using my revolver return to extend my combo or use a reparry technique, so it gives me an opening. I can go him and attack. Here again, striker, heavy attack, this flux dispersal charge is gone, and now he just threw an SP2. It gives me a good opening. I'm gonna go in with a 5-hit combo into an SP2, and he goes again above 2 bars of power. So that's the name of the game. That is the loop, and you can use that to remove to kill off Joe Fixit. Again, Kate Bishop is also available. You can also use Apocalypse. So plenty of champions. She's not the only option, but I just wanted to showcase a different option for you guys that you can use for this path, because there are some skill champions, there are some science champions. All of them, if you have a high rank in Elsa Bloodstone, that can work out really well. Here is the striker comes in. We push Joe Fixit to again 2 bars of power. We remove the flux dispersal with using a heavy, and he's gonna take full damage with an SP1 at the end of it. That again brings us on the same loop. We wait for him to throw an SP2. Once he throws an SP2, we go back in, we throw a striker, and this time around it kills, but after a striker we use a heavy attack to remove the flux dispersal charges. The boss fight is all about controlling the miss and keeping Spiderman Supreme to SP1. I made a first mistake. I tried to dash without using heavy attack, so that kind of backfired. So I just need to parry and use a heavy that will apply tracking, and now I will not be missing. So I can go in and start getting Spider-Man without any problem. Now the mistake I did here, that I pushed him to an SP2. I should have taken some degen damage, that's okay, but I should have let him throw an SP1 now, because the SP2 does a lot of damage for every buff you have, and you can gain a lot of buffs when you are going to parry with such a huge block. And also there's going to be some buffs given to you by Spider Supreme, so you take a lot of damage. Just right there, half of my health bar was just taken down just like that because of too many parries. So in hindsight, I should have only kept him to an SP1 and evaded. Now again, he's going to throw that SP2. The nasty SP2 is going to do a lot of damage to me. Tried evading, failed miserably, but you get the gist how you do it. So I went back in, I brought in Human Torch with his pre-fight ability, and just parry and heavy with the temperature more than 10. I cannot miss, so just parry and heavy and slowly taking out Spider Supreme. Again, let him throw SP1, that is more helpful. So I hope you guys enjoyed this path. 8.4.5 out on the books. Tomorrow is going to be 8.4.4, so stay tuned to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.